Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Health Focus, a platform where we focus on all healthcare careers, equipments, machines, and everything infrastructure, whatever you need in health. And in case you have an health professional or a place that you want us to focus on, comment down below and enable us to get there. If this is the kind of content you like to view, kindly like, comment, share, and let's engage. Welcome. My name is Amy. Today, our focus is going into cardiology, and cardiology is, in Kenya, we have almost 40 cardiologists, and most of them are concentrated in Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu, leaving the rural areas without a cardiologist. But first, before we focus so much on it, let's know what cardiology is all about, and we get to interview one of the cardiologists based in Nairobi, Kenya, and his story will give us a clear elaboration on the journey and why they are few. Welcome, Dr.
Thank you so much, Amy. Pleased to be here.
Thank you. And the beginning is we would like to know you. Where did you grow up and where did you go to school?
Actually, I've been born and raised here in Nairobi. I did go to high school in Nyeri, but I came right back after that to Nairobi, which is where I've mostly worked. A bit of experience in Eastern Province. I went to Embu for a year, Marsabit for a year, and I came back to Nairobi.
Okay.
So most of my working life has been here in Nairobi.
You're growing up, you're working, your schooling is almost in Nairobi.
Yeah, almost entirely.
Before we do a crash story about it, tell us about you as a primary school student. Where was it and what did you want to do when you grew up?
I mostly schooled in City Primary School in Ngara. I was there from Standard 2 to Standard 8. And I really enjoyed it. I actually played quite a bit. And to the point that my KCP was not very well performed. And my parents had to look for a school for me in Nyeri Baptist High School. And that marked a turnaround for my life. So I'm really grateful for the teachers. So many of them are still there working in the same place. That they really helped me turn my life around. And the 4 years in high school are really the best years I've had in schooling. Then after that, I came to the University of Nairobi, which is where I did both my undergraduate and postgraduate courses.
When you were in primary school, as you're doing your class 8,
as you are
right? As
yes.
Okay, so in primary school, as you were finishing your class 8, did you know of what you want to be?
I really wanted to be a lot of things. I confess that at some point I wanted to be a robber, and I wanted to be a policeman, then a motorcycle rider. Then I really had many things I enjoyed at that point. I was not focused. The idea of being a doctor really came from my parents, actually, my mom specifically.
Let's get to understand why a robber, why a motorcycle, why...
I was watching TV. You know, we had this, we used to watch programs like The Return of the Saint. There was a man called Derek. I really used to enjoy those days that TV was just black and white. To start at 7, and close by 9:30, I think 10. And those are my heroes, and I really enjoyed watching them.
So they were robbers, they were
detectives, very diametrically opposite, but I still enjoyed watching them. Motorcycle rider, Safari Rally was very major during our time. Joginda Singh, Shekameta, and the rest of them. I really wanted to be like them.
Wow.
But the idea of being a doctor really crystallized when I was in high school. It had been my mom's dream because she herself wanted to be a nurse and a doctor, but that didn't work out for her.
Was she a nurse or a doctor?
No, she ended up doing administration. But
So
that dream still was in her heart.
lived her dream through you.
Well, she planted the seeds, I would say so.
Okay.
And the seeds germinated with time.
Okay.
And I realized I enjoyed talking and learning about people and helping them. So I think that really coupled together with the career.
That's in high school.
In high school.
So in high school, you're talking about Form 1, 2, or 3, or 4?
It was really Form 3 that this crystallized in my heart, and I knew what I wanted to do.
So by the time you're doing your Form 4, you were set. You
I
want
was
to do
crystal
medicine.
clear. I want to do medicine in the University of Nairobi.
Okay. You finished high school,
Yes, I did.
then you joined the University of Nairobi.
We had a 2-year break during which I went to do computer science. I did 1 year of computer science. Then 2 years later, I joined the University of Nairobi for the Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery course.
Explain the break.
There was an interlude that occasioned by the double graduation from 844 from the 732 system to the 844 system. So that 2-year break was there for quite a long time.
So are you the first class of 844 or among the first classes of 844?
We were like the 7th class.
Of 844?
Yeah, but that double story was still there for quite some time.
Okay, all right. So you stayed home for 2 years?
For 2 years.
But you had already gotten admission from Nairobi University?
Yes, 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 yes.
And you went to do computer?
I did a computer course for a whole year, computer and management course for a whole year, so that set me up for the world which we live in. There's a lot of technology.
Or for fun?
Well, I think I was just gaining skills, gaining knowledge, and seeing what else I can do on the side.
So even after doing computer, you still had your mindset it's medicine?
On medicine, that is true.
Okay. Tell us your life in Nairobi University as a medical student.
I enjoyed University of Nairobi, made very good friends that are still my friends today, and participated in the Christian Union quite a bit there, and I really grew as a person during those 6 years. It was a long period because people that we were with in high school, they finished after 4 years, got jobs, got houses, got cars. We are still students.
Wow.
Yes.
What is your first impression of the first class in med school? You are in front of cadavers. People who don't know medicine don't know what cadavers are. You will explain to them. And this is a world where we fear death so much. Give us your first impression.
Medical school, especially first year, was intimidating because you find so many other students from different places, many of them from top schools, that I'm coming from this rural-based school that was not very well known at that level. So it was quite intimidating. And as you mentioned, we went to it's called the Human Anatomy Lab. And we had to physically learn the parts of the body by actually working on an embalmed human body. This would be unclaimed bodies or bodies that are donated that we have to work through to understand the way the body works. Because medicine is not theoretical, it is actually a practical thing that you have to do. So the good thing is that we had teachers who were there, we had older students teaching us, and then we were not alone in that Human Anatomy Lab. So that was actually quite good because it's very practical.
Were you scared the first day you went there? Were you okay? Were you ready?
They didn't take us there, I think, for a month or so, but they prepared us, let us know this is going to happen.
Okay.
This is a place you're going to be going, and it's going to be like this. And I think within about 2 months, we actually got to a point that we'd actually enjoy knowing the different parts of the human body.
Wow.
The place is an academic institution, so we make sure that we're going there specifically for the academic purposes.
Okay, not for scaring issues.
No, not for playing around or anything like that.
How will you describe the learning of med school? Is it so easy? Can you tell somebody it's something that you just have to flow, or it's something that needs extra working hard?
The first year is actually quite tough, I must be honest with that, because you are brought into this new environment where you're supposed to do research on your own, read the books on your own, and then comes these exams that have something known as negative marking. We've never come across negative marking before, where every wrong answer you put, you lose marks. Wow. So you can actually get to a point where you've lost more marks than you've gained.
So you have a negative.
It's possible. It's possible.
The reason why you find so many students failing.
Yes, it's very, very, because they want you to be certain about what you're doing. This is not guesswork. So either you know or you don't know. If you don't know, you leave the question alone. You don't try and answer. Then it's by guesswork, because you might end up in trouble.
So when you don't answer, you don't get a negative.
There is no problem.
You are safe.
You don't gain, you don't lose. But if you answer the wrong thing, you actually get negative marking.
Wow.
I would say that really made us focus, because as doctors, you just can't play around with a client.
Okay.
If a client needs help and you can't offer it, please refer them to the next person. Don't hold on to them. I think that was the culture that we're trying to inculcate in us. So there's a lot of work required, a lot of study, a lot of focus. The good thing is that we did have work groups that helped us along the way.
Okay. You finish your med training, you need to go for internship.
Yes.
Where did you have your internship?
I did my internship in the Embu Provincial General Hospital. That was in Embu. I was there with a group of my classmates, so we were able to support each other, work with each other, encourage one another. It was one very, very tough year. Actually 13 months of really a time when you know your life is not your own. It belongs to the hospital. But it was really good because it honed our skills from theory and a bit of practical to fully practical. And seeing lives changed by you putting your hands there, you're focusing on the client, interacting with the consultants and other seniors, making sure the patient goes home well. So it was a very good experience for me. Unfortunately, there was a lot of drawbacks at that time. We didn't have the heart, highly active antiretroviral therapy. So HIV patients in Embu in the year 2002, 2003, we really lost a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah, we did. We lost
2002,
2003. We didn't have the Gavi program. We didn't have the funding to help with the heart, the HIV/AIDS medication by then. That just come in, wasn't well widespread. So that was a major drawback we had.
So anytime you were found to be seroreactive or HIV positive, it was your verdict, you're gone?
And many of the patients would actually come quite late because these drugs were really not available at that time. It was quite a tough time during that period. But the rest of the fields we actually enjoyed. Taking care of the diabetics, hypertensives, we really enjoyed. Taking care of the asthmatics. Snake bites were quite common in Embu. We had to learn how to manage them. And lots of surgeries. For some reason, the weekends had a lot of trauma. We were awake the whole night
It
stitching.
has not changed, Doc.
Stitching
Up to
clients.
now.
Yes.
Up to now, weekends are always having trauma.
Yes.
My question will be, why was it that your life is not your own?
Internship is meant to actually prove the mettle in the student by really forcing them. That's the word I should use, to actually focus on the ground care for clients. So you are really, you call it the houseman. You are the one on the ground. Okay. You are the first contact for a client who shows up either in casualty, if you are working in casualty, or when they show up in the ward. And it is your job to implement all the directives given by all the consultants. Okay. So working on the ground really helps you get a good grasp on patient care.
Wow. So if you are taken back to med school and to internship, is there something you think you'll do different? Will you change the curriculum or?
I probably would. I'd want my consultants to be more available for me because we did make a lot of decisions on our own, and many of them were trial and error.
Wow. Wow. Okay. The beauty is, as you finished med school at that time, you were kind of being posted to where to work.
Yes.
When did the cardiology get born in you?
I actually give credit at this point to my mentors, primarily in the private sector, because I had good mentors who influenced me. First of all, in the direction of internal medicine, which is medicine without innovation, that makes me a physician. I think the first mentor in that regard was Dr. Louis Roy Lume. I met him in Nairobi Hospital. Then I met mentors who would actually sit with you and talk to you. I met Dr. Charles Kariuki and Dr. David Silverstein, who actually were willing to sit with young doctors and encourage them, teach them, show them the way. That was really good. So they birthed the first seed to be a physician in me.
So how long did you take before you went to med school? You went back to Nairobi University?
Yes, I did.
How long is IMED, internal medicine?
It was a 3-year course. I was a medical officer for about between 2 and 206, so about 4 years. So in 206, I went back to the University of Nairobi for a master's in internal medicine.
For 3 years?
For 3 years.
Then after that, you started working as a physician?
I was a physician. I worked under a very good mentor, Dr. Robert Madenge, to him I also give credit for interesting me in cardiology. I was with him for 2 years. Then I actually moved to the Karen Hospital, and that's where I met people who were able to hold my hand and show me what the heart is and how to take care of the heart. So credit goes to Dr. Dan Gikonyo and Dr. Anthony Gikonyo, who are primarily my main mentors in Karen Hospital. And there I really grew and really was formed properly as a physician and a cardiologist.
So how long again is cardiology in school? You've done your 3 years in IMED. Then how long does it take to do cardiology as a subspecialty?
By the time I was seeking subspecialty in cardiology, we really didn't have any formed or structured programs on the ground for that. So I went to India for 1 year. Having worked in cardiology already between the years of 2009 and the year 2015, already had a good grasp in cardiology work. So Dr. Gikonyo graciously sent me to Apollo Main Hospital, India, for a subspecialty, or we could call it a super specialty in cardiology called electrophysiology. That has to do with the heart rhythm. So physician, cardiologist, electrophysiologist on top. So that's the training that I got courtesy of the Gikonyos at Karen Hospital.
Wow.
So that took me a year. Then I came back in the capacity of a cardiologist at Karen Hospital between 2016 and 2019.
Do we currently have a structured training in our country right now?
Yes, we do. Thankfully, we do have 3 programs running. This is the Aga Khan University Hospital has a cardiology program running. Moi University in Eldoret has a cardiology program running. And the Karen Hospital was also training cardiologists now. So we do have 3 programs that are running. And thankfully, we should see more competent cardiologists coming out of these institutions.
Wow, that's an urge to the young doctors coming up and desiring to fill the gap I talked in the beginning of only 40, approximately 40 in the nation of Kenya, serving the 40 million human beings. That's why we find so many patients having cardiac arrest without knowing the indications or even management of the issues. If today, Doc, you are put in the Ministry of Health as the permanent secretary or something up there to make decisions concerning healthcare, what will be your main focus?
Number 1, I would actually lobby Parliament and Senate to establish a health service commission. I'm in the private sector, but private sector really rides on public sector. We must have a robust and efficient and effective public sector to be able to run healthcare in the country. Private will only take care of a certain segment of subspecialty care for patients. We take care of a segment of population that's able to actually pay for their care. So you must have a health service commission, primarily for the workforce. We must get right where human resources is concerned. The idea we've had in the last 10 or so years of devolving human resources in the 40 different counties has been a disaster, because we've had different policies. We've had failure to employ doctors once they finish internship, because that's when the counties are required to pay salaries. That's been a big issue. And frustration of doctors and nurses and other cadres in terms of promotion, in terms of these things that are important to motivate the workforce. That must come number one. Number two, we must rationalize our investment in the healthcare. We've seen really a lot of focus, but it was not properly directed in the last 10 years in healthcare. There was a good effort that came early in, I think it was the year 2013, called Beyond Zero program that died quite quickly. At the same time, there came up Linda Mama program through NHIF. NHIF has stood out to be the star in the healthcare in the last 15 or so years, because they've actually done their job really, really well, supported healthcare, especially specialized care, and even general care for most of our clients. So number one, Health Service Commission. Number two, focused and well-advised investment in different areas. Number three, we must find a way to be able to actually ensure that we retain our force here, and make sure that the services continue to be offered in the different areas. We must get drugs in the hospitals. That's been a big issue. We must get consumables in the hospitals. It's not enough to just paint the gates of the hospital, get a very good-looking ambulance. Let's make sure there's actually Panadol in the hospital, there's gauze in the hospital, there's antiseptics in the hospital. These are things that are actually a reality in many of these county hospitals. They look good, but really are a shell. We've invested in hospitals even as close by as industrial area that are still closed. Huge maternity units, because the infrastructure is over there. There's no workforce, there are no consumables. So you must rationalize the way we invest in these things. Infrastructure is very important, but you must have the staff to work in that place. We must keep them there. We must give them the consumables they actually need and the drugs they need to be able to actually run this.
Wow.
Healthcare cannot be devolved to the private sector on its own. It must be driven by the government. Public sector must actually come up. Private only comes to supplement what others are able to afford, what cannot be done in public sector. Otherwise, in the last 15 years, kudos to NHIF, you've done a very good job.
Okay, wow. What will you tell a young upcoming doctor who will want to do cardiology?
Welcome, would be my words.
Welcome.
Yes.
It's not easy, but it's gonna be.
It is worthwhile.
It's worthwhile.
Cardiology is worthwhile.
Wow, thank you. You've heard from the cardiologist himself. For more information about what he does right now and what you can benefit from his area of practice, watch out for Part B.